In 1873, 3 children died at the base of a lighthouse. What was a fun day at the job site turned into a day of shock and horror. Their deaths were ruled an accident, no criminal charges, no scandal. But almost immediately after the tower was completed, people began reporting footsteps where no one stood, doors opening on their own, and laughter echoing from places no children were allowed to be. This is not your typical ghost story. It's a location with a history that refuses to stay silent even today. This is the story of the St. Augustine Lighthouse. St. Augustine, America's oldest continuously occupied European settlement, was founded by the Spanish in 1565. The waters off its coast appear calm, but hide shifting sandbars and shoals just below the surface. Shipwrecks were common due to treacherous water, and such other maritime hazards were well documented. Long before a permanent lighthouse stood here, ships approaching the harbor relied on limited tools. There were no reliable coastal beacons to mark safe passage, no illuminated warnings to signal where the seabed rose suddenly toward disaster. A misjudged tide, a poorly read chart, or a moment's hesitation was often enough to turn a routine approach into a wreck. By the 1870s, the need for a permanent lighthouse was no longer debated. The original Spanish watchtowers and early lights had proven inadequate, and coastal erosion had made earlier structures unreliable. What was required now was something lasting, tall enough to be seen from miles offshore, and stable enough to survive both time and tide. The site chosen was inland, away from shifting shoreline, on higher ground surrounded by marsh and scrub. Engineers believed this would provide a more secure foundation, protecting the structure from storms and encroaching waves. Construction began in 1871. Brick by brick, the tower rose slowly. More than 1 million bricks were used, each one transported, placed, and mortared by hand. A massive spiral staircase was built into the interior, winding upward toward what would eventually become one of the most powerful lights on the Florida coast. After years of work, the tower was completed. In 1874, the St. Augustine Lighthouse was officially lit for the first time. Its beams stretched out across the Atlantic, sweeping steadily through the darkness, signaling safe passage to ships that had once approached these waters blindly. But one event during construction would leave a mark on the lighthouse that endures to this day.
During the lighthouse's construction in July of 1873, a small supply cart running along rails from the shoreline up to the worksite was a common part of the daily routine, and also a favorite plaything for the superintendent's children and other local kids. On July the 10th, that cart reached the end of its line without the usual stopping place, ran into the water and overturned. The cart plunged into the water, trapping the children beneath it. A worker managed to lift the cart off the children, but 3 young girls drowned before help could reach them, leaving Carrie, the youngest Pitty daughter, alive. Official records described the incident as an accident. There were no criminal charges, no lasting investigation, and no public scandal. Construction continued and the tower rose as planned, but their presence would continue to be felt long after that day.
Even after the tragic deaths at the site nearly 150 years ago, the St. Augustine Lighthouse's story didn't end with its light being lit. Over the decades, staff, visitors, and paranormal investigators alike have reported experiences that defy easy explanation, turning this historic beacon into one of the most talked about haunted locations in the United States. People exploring the lighthouse and keeper's house have described unexplained footsteps echoing up and down the spiral staircase when no one else is present. Some hear the laughter of children that seems to move ahead of them as they climb, only to find empty steps when they reach the top. Visitors and guides have also reported disembodied voices, sudden cold spots, and strange openings or closings of doors without visible cause. Commonly seen are small figures near the railings or in windows, often interpreted as the children who died during construction. There are also claims of distinct phantom smells, such as cigar smoke. What's interesting is one of the keepers used to smoke cigars while on shift. Whether these accounts are the result of psychological suggestion, environmental sounds and architecture, or something truly unexplained, the stories are striking in their consistency. Multiple people across different decades describe similar experiences in the same spaces, further cementing the legend of the St. Augustine Lighthouse in mystery and intrigue.
As I dug through records and old documents, one detail caught my attention: a small inconsistency in the spelling of one of the Pitti girls' names. It reminded me that history isn't always perfect, and stories aren't always recorded the way that they actually happened. But even in those imperfect records, the truth remains. 3 children lived here, 3 children were lost here, and something about their presence, fragile, fleeting yet enduring, still lingers in this lighthouse. Looking at the tower today, it feels less like a building and more like a bridge, a place where the past quietly reaches out, waiting to be remembered.
Standing here, it's easy to feel that this place exists between worlds, where history and the present meet, and stories refuse to fade. The mystery remains, quietly shaping the halls and stairs, whispering through time. And though the past is distant, it is not. We carry it forward, together, honoring those who came before, and remembering that even in silence, they are still with us. Thank you for listening to this story. If you enjoyed this experience and want to hear more stories like this in the future, consider liking, leave a comment, or share this video with someone you know who may enjoy it as well. Not mandatory, but also helps if you become a member of the channel. See you in the next one.
Through the static and the silence, a whisper calls your name, a voice that chills your spirit, yet soothes you all the same. In the dark, the tales unfold, where shadows love to creep, but the echoes in the distance might just rock you back to sleep.